Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for taking out this time just to have a quick conversation. I was doing this when the pandemic first took off. I was coming on every Sunday night and just having an in depth conversation with some of my closest friends, some that I've been knowing for a long time, and some that I have, in fact, just met. But I believe that their ear was inclined to hear what God was saying during this season. I was thinking today after worship today, I preached on the 18th floor of my hotel in New York, and um, it was different. And I've been saying that during this season, God doesn't want us to be the same. He wants us to have a different approach. And so that's what I've been attempting to do. And so after that, I went and marched with a group of young people in Brooklyn, New York, and that was a blessing. So I just called a friend of mine, a brother, and just asked him if he would just come on tonight just to share with us. And I want to talk about what's next for the church. Everybody's talking about the stores opening, the stores closing, all these new different rules. Even in New York, there's no sit down on the inside. You got to sit on the outside of the restaurant. Then you got to wait for a long time even to get a seat. So it's been very different. It's been very challenging and so forth. So I want to bring my friend on tonight. I want everybody who possibly can to share this with someone, and I want to make sure that we're getting the news out that we're having this conversation tonight. So he was pastoring here when I first met him at the Journey Church, a church that took off, grew over leaps and bounds, and he's still yet now doing ministry, still ministering to people in Benton Harbor, as well as serving as one of the administrative pastors in the city of Chicago at the New Beginnings Church. I want you all to help welcome tonight my friend and brother, Pastor TJ Grooms. Pastor, how are you tonight?
What's up, man? I'm
What's up,
good.
man? I'm good.
You
Everything
you know
good?
you know I
You know, I
hey I
you
gotta
know I
love
gotta
you if
love you
I'm
if I'm
on
on
live.
live.
Absolutely. Because you come on live like once every 5 months.
I don't
I
even
don't
know
even
if it's
know if
that
it's that
much. I've
much.
only
I've only
done
done
two in
two
my
in my
whole
whole
life.
life.
Absolutely. I know that you're celebrating your anniversary, correct?
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
man.
10 years.
10 years.
This
This
coming up
coming up
Thursday.
Thursday.
I'm
I'm
actually in the
actually in the
country
country
now,
now,
so
so
that's why
that's
I'm
why I'm
sitting in the
sitting in
car
the
because
car
the
because the
noise
noise
was
was
too
too
loud in the
loud in the
background with
background
all
with
them
all them
bugs and
bugs and
stuff.
stuff.
I
But
got you.
came
Came
down
down
here,
here,
picked up
picked
the
up the
family,
family,
and
and
we'll be
we'll be
back in
back in
Chicago
Chicago
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Absolutely. Well, let me say first, even before Wednesday, I think you said, let me say happy anniversary to you.
Thank you.
10 years in. That's an
10
amazing,
in. They say
They
once
say
you
once
hit
you hit
10,
10,
you
you
good.
good.
oh man, smooth sailing now. And so I'm praying for year one to come, but I got to first say I do. Um, I want to dive right into the conversation. I don't want to spend uh, too much of your time away from um, the wife and the beautiful babies. Um, Send my love to them. Um, Let me ask you. I know you've always, to me, in conversation, had a different thought process when it relate to the church. If anybody know you and think that you're like other people, they don't know you
Wow.
because you've always have had your own perception on the way things were uh, in America, dealing with politics, dealing with
Hmm.
the educational background, and even
Hmm.
with the church. Tonight,
Yeah.
I want to really just dig in to what you believe God is saying to the church, to Pilgrim Rest, to to new beginnings? Is it just one word from God that's going to be universal, or is it a word that's going to be individual?
Yeah.
Where do you believe we are?
So I think it's pretty much one universal word, but that one word has different methods. And so in the scripture, I believe it's Ephesians 4:11 and 12, it talks about how God has given some apostles, some prophets, some pastors, some teachers. And then he says that he did that for the perfecting of the saints and for the work of the ministry and for the edifying of the body. And so I believe that one of the reasons why this pandemic is here is because we have perfected church, but not the saints.
Mm,
And so in this season of our lives, especially in the church world, we have to get beyond perfecting service, perfecting lights, perfecting everything about church, and get to perfecting the saints. Because once the saints are perfected, then once they're outside of the building, they'll be able to make the change and the impact and all the things that they need to do. Prime example, man, you probably don't know this, but I was every week I tune in to National Action Network on every Saturday.
mm,
And I just happened to be watching it, and I was like, man, this is Lynch on here.
yeah,
And I see you marching, and I see you doing as much as you can to help in the civil rights movement as relates to police brutality and just for the edification of our people. I see the work that you're doing and the hard work that you're doing in that area, and I'm every time I see you and other people really having their hand on the pulse of what's going on in this nation, that's where the church has to be. And not too long ago, Pastor Lynch, I talked about a message about the man that was laid at the gate called Beautiful. And the problem with that story was the Bible says that everybody walked past that man to go to church. So what they did was they walked past the need to go to service.
mm,
What happens when the church will stop going to serve and stay there and meet the need of the people?
mm.
So that when you go into church, you're not going to church by yourself
Wow.
because you meet the need right there. And so that's pretty much, it's not anything that's deep. It's not anything that's like a wow revelation. I just believe that God has the church set up to where we can really and honestly perfect the saints. So when you go to your job, you look like a saint. When you hang with your friends, you look like a saint. When you're developing that business, when you're operating in that entrepreneurial type of spirit, even if you're not developing a business, but you're at work, you're supporting somebody else's vision, you have to look like a saint. And that's what I believe that the church has to do.
Wow, that's amazing. Yesterday, oh, I was at National Action Network, and I listened to Reverend Al Sharpton, as I have for years. And he said something yesterday that I've
Hmm.
always thought. I just never said it as eloquent as he did on yesterday. He talked about how preachers are available for everything but people. Um,
Yeah.
we're busy uh, for marches, but say you don't want to march, but too busy to feed people, too busy to clothe people, too busy to counsel and to make
Yeah.
sure that the school is providing the right educational outlet for our
Yeah.
children. But as soon as the mayor or the governor or Trump call, we
We there.
stop everything we're doing in
Yeah.
order to make it there. And I say that because you talked about dealing with the need. And I've always tried at Pilgrim Rest and really throughout my entire ministry to
Hmm.
really focus on people rather than all the politics behind it and so forth. I say this, Grooms, and I'm gonna let you jump in. I say this all the time, that there's not too many needs in my church, and I'm almost safe to say that there's none. And if there is, it's only because I don't know about it. Because any need that's brought to me, I try everything in me to meet the need. Talk about how serious it is during this pandemic, dealing with this crisis, dealing with the protest. I believe that people are looking for churches right now, even if their name is on the roll. But I believe this: if you miss meeting the needs of people, because that's really what ministry is. Ministry is meeting needs of people. I believe that if you're not meeting needs, your church is really closed.
Your church is closed if only the pastor is meeting the need.
Wow.
And that's the part about perfecting the saints. We have to perfect the people to the point to where the burden is not on the pastor. The pastor just facilitates, and then we go from there. And so prime example, because this is a great topic that you're even bringing up. Sometimes, man, the need can be so great that people think that they can't meet it. And I think it's important that we understand that you can't save everybody. That there is a people that is assigned to you. It don't matter how many that number is. You just got to operate in your capacity. And so, prime example, you remember the story about the man that was lame for 38 years at the pool, and Jesus goes to that place, and he chooses that man. And I always used to ask the question, man, all them people that was at that pool, why just the man? Why just the man that was 38? You could have healed everybody there, but why just that man? And the Lord had to show me, because at the end of the day, it's not my job to do this for everybody. I want to show you that there is a certain people that you are assigned to, and you can't heal everybody. If you just can't. So I want people to understand that even if it's just one person, even if it's just two people on your neighborhood, on your block, in your family that you're reaching, that you're touching, you are doing effective ministry.
Wow.
You don't have to do it. Doesn't have to be anything so major. In the church world, Pastor, we always magnify big stuff. Whenever we talk about purpose, we always talk about it from an entrepreneurial standpoint, having businesses and being a millionaire and all this other stuff, which is wonderful, which is great. Abraham had one job: be a father. God blessed him for being a dad.
Wow.
Not for being an entrepreneur, not for being the world's greatest evangelist, not for being president. He had one job: be a dad. So when you understand, when you understand your capacity and your merit and your assignment, you don't spend time trying to outdo other people. You just spend time operating in the purpose and the destiny that God has given you. And once you understand that, that's how you meet the need. You meet the need based on the capacity that God has given you.
Wow, that's good, man. I've wrestled the past few weeks at our church while we're doing production, we're doing infomercials, we're in the community, we're doing a lot. But I've been trying to get in my own place and space, just trying to hear from God in this season, because I know a lot of people are opening their churches up, and I don't believe that it's my job to copy, but it's not my job also to criticize.
Absolutely.
So if people decide
We got enough of that going on.
Absolutely. So what do you think? What do you think is our next move as a church when it relates to COVID-19 and
Go ahead.
and reopening and all of those type of things? What do you believe?
So this is me personally. I am a firm believer that everybody, every ministry, every pastor, you gotta have a prayer life. You gotta talk to God. You gotta commune with God. The same God that we say when we get up in that pulpit, God says, ought to be able to drop in your spirit when to open. And it may be different for other people. I can't speak for other pastors. I can't speak for. I will not knock any pastor that does open if he is doing it with wisdom, and I will not knock any person that does not open. I'm just a firm believer that when it comes to this pandemic, if you are a pastor, you have to go to God as relates to the pastor as relates to the people that you pastor. And let me be clear, you got to understand that no answer means continue to do what you have been doing.
Wow.
And I want to make that clear because I think a lot of us get in trouble because when we don't get the answer that we want, we force an answer. And then we have to deal with the consequences of whatever it is that we're doing. It's okay to say, I don't know if I should be doing this right now because I haven't heard from God. I would much rather you say, I have not heard from God yet as it relates to opening up church and not open, than to not hear from God about opening, and then you open, and then you've got super spreader.
Yes.
So even how the church looks, I'm telling you, if you believe that the church is going to go back to the way that things used to be, you are absolutely not in tune with what's going on right now.
Yeah.
You're not. If you think that God is going to cause us to go back to church so we can have a better service, instead of causing us to go back to church so we can produce a better people, you are sadly mistaken. And I believe that is where God is going with every single pastor. While we are sitting back and we are pondering what's next, I believe that God is continuing to show his reflection on the people that we lead. Are you perfecting them, or are you perfecting your pockets? Are you perfecting them, or are you trying to perfect your budget? Are you perfecting them, or are you trying to perfect the outside of how your ministry lives, how people perceive your ministry, versus how people are truly gleaning from your people, from your ministry that you're leading? And that's where the church is at today. It's not, Pastor Lynch, it's not anything deep. And I think that's where we get in trouble too. We try to find the deepest revelation, the deepest idea, and it's in what's simple. Perfecting the saints. And you can't perfect them if you don't know them. You can't perfect them if you don't have a relationship with them. If you're not concerned about their destiny, if you're not concerned about their assignment, you can't perfect them. So that's what it's about. And if we do that, I believe God will add the rest. There won't, Pastor Lynch, even with Pilgrim Rest, because the job that you're doing is absolutely phenomenal. You should be called a pandemic pastor right now. But what, even in what you're doing, I am a firm believer that if you meet the needs of perfecting the saints that God has given you to lead, there is no resource you won't have. There is no connection you won't have. There is no door that won't open up. There is no, you're going to have finances that you won't even know what to do with. You're going to have to be like Moses and say, all right, man, we can't even collect anymore. That's enough. Y'all just stop. Y'all chill. Because the people are so liberal in their giving. And not just financially, but so liberal in their giving as relates to their effort and their passion. This is where we get in trouble sometimes, Pastor, and I know you've been here before. Sometimes we struggle because we find ourselves leading people, and we want them to go places where they don't think they can go themselves.
Yeah.
And they don't have any idea. It is our job to let them know you can go here. You can make a difference. You can have an impact. You can do whatever God called you to do before the foundation of the world. There was a purpose that he gave you before the foundation of the world, before you were born. Through your matriculation in the earth, you forgot. That was the enemy's job, to make you forget about what God had predestined for you to be.
Right.
And so now it is our job to remember. And I'm believing, and I'm trying not to get happy, but I feel the Holy Ghost right now.
Yes.
I believe that while you're preaching the gospel,
Yes.
people will begin to remember why they are here.
Yes.
And once you know your why, God's gonna take care of the how.
Yes, sir.
You just got to know your why. And
Wow.
and you're gonna have people that are listening to you online, and they're gonna say, you know what? Okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is who I'm supposed to be helping. This is what I'm supposed. This book, okay, it's been in my spirit. Now I got to do it. This thing, okay, now I know what it is. And then you're gonna find out that once you operate in that place, the people that are assigned to your life, God will begin to not only show them, but they will have a direct impact because of what it is you're doing.
Yes.
The earth is waiting for the sons and daughters of God to be made manifest. That's what they're waiting on. And so this is the time to do that. And you're doing that, Pastor. Let me tell you something. And I'm going to speak something to you. This is what I want you to get. And this is what I want Pilgrim Rest to get. Pilgrim Rest has to pray for their pastor right now like never before. Because it's hard being a visionary. It's hard being a trailblazer. If you are a visionary and you don't have people around you that can hold up your arms, it gets difficult. It gets rough. And I'm speaking, I'm gonna be a pastor for 30 seconds. I'm speaking to the members of Pilgrim Rest. Not to the ones that are not there. I'm talking about to the ones that are assigned to Pastor Carlton Lynch. It is time in this season to get on those knees and to ask God, what can I do to assist my pastor? What can I do to assist my pastor? Not what does my pastor need to be doing? What can I do to assist my pastor? Is that easy? Is that easy? What can I do to assist my pastor?
Wow. Wow.
And I believe that once you do that, you're going to see that he don't have to work so hard because he has. We talk about this story a lot. Pastor, you remember when? I'm sorry, I'm all over the place, but I got to go here. You remember the story when Moses had to when he was frustrated. I think it was in Numbers 19. He was so frustrated with the people, and the Lord told him, he said, man, put a piece of your spirit in these many elders.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy because he had enough in him to where when he took a piece out of him, he still had stuff left over.
Yeah.
But he had to put a piece of him in the people that he was leading.
Yes.
And this is what we have to understand, church. You have to get the spirit of your pastor. I know we live in a brand new church world where people don't believe in honor and people don't believe in totally being assigned and submitted to your pastor. I get it. I'm not of that crop.
Right.
I've seen the benefit of properly being submitted to your pastor, of properly finding ways to assist your pastor. That is where it's at. And this pandemic, this is what we have to get back to. If Pastor Lynch is my pastor, what can I do to assist him? Not criticize. Because this is what we get. It's so easy to criticize. Because we criticize stuff we don't have responsibility over. See, it's easy to criticize something when you're not responsible for it.
Yeah.
But when you're responsible for it, you don't see criticism, you see solutions.
Right.
So now that means, Lord, what can I do to assist my pastor to bring him solutions for his vision to come to pass?
Wow.
That's what I want every member of Pilgrim Rest to be in prayer about. What can I do to bring solutions to my pastor?
Wow.
You know you got a pastor that is working extremely hard. But he can't do this by himself. He won't tell you this, but I'll tell you because I've been in his shoes before and I understand where he may be.
Yeah.
And that is when you got such a strong vision and a strong purpose and a strong zeal and a strong passion it requires a strong people, a passionate people,
Yes.
a people with zeal, a people that want to see the work done just as much as he does.
Yes.
That's what you have to do, Pilgrim Rest. Make this the last night where you go to bed without praying about how you assist your pastor.
That's amazing, Doc. I appreciate that because you are definitely right. Especially during this pandemic, people think that the workload is easier.
No.
It is really, I'm really working more and more. And, I had a call come in today. I'm going to say this and we'll end because I see you in pitch dark. You seem like you in the Roman jail cell where Paul and Silas was at midnight. I want to let you out so you can get back in with your family. But somebody texted me today and said, called me today rather, and said, they texted me and asked me could I call them. I called them, and they said, Pastor, it don't look good with you in New York this weekend. With Al Sharpton and marching there in Brooklyn, and then you'll come back in and you'll leave again, and so forth. And I'm gonna preach a message, in the next week or two, entitled "What's My Assignment?"
Yeah.
Because sometimes people will put you in a box.
Yeah.
When, number one, that box is not even my size.
Right.
Even if I wanted to be in the box, you at least got to get my size.
You have no box.
That's right. I live like there are no limits. And
so can I say this, Pastor? Because to add to that, because I don't want I want the people to this is what Pilgrim Rest has to understand. You got to know who your pastor is. Okay, you got to know who he is. You got to know his assignment. He knows his assignment, and he's going to relay to you what his assignment is. But you got to know and understand his assignment. Pastor Lynch, you're more apostolic than you think you are. And what I mean by that is, the reason why you have an assignment to go all over is because you have an assignment to your people to make sure that your people can carry the load while you're not there. And see that this is why this is so important. This is why you ought to be thankful, Pilgrim Rest, to have a pastor that is called here and called there, and he may not be in your face 24/7. That means that God trusts you to be able to do the ministry that you think that he should be doing. You see that? Like if you got somebody in your church saying, man, Pastor need to be here because he need to be visiting the sick, that means that you got people in your ministry that has the capacity to do that job.
Right. Exactly.
If you have people around you that saying, oh man, Pastor need to be here because he need to be burying folks, he need to be doing that, means that there are people sitting in your ministry that has the capacity to do that job. So once again, you have to say, how can I assist him in him going even further in his vision? Not just to New York, but to Europe, but to Africa, but to all over. You have a global pastor. So that means that you have to step up and do the local work.
Absolutely, that's good. That everybody's saying there's a bad echo. I want to table this conversation, Pastor. I want to bring you back once you're back home, because I know at home you got just what you need.
Exactly.
I'm
so sorry.
No. But I'm glad we started this conversation because there's so people texting me right now, and they're like, "Man, this is good, but we can't hardly hear them good." I just got another one right now, Pastor. That's so serious. I'm sorry for not praying for you. You know what I mean? So
yes, sir.
And I honor you for that. So let's table this. I think you said you're celebrating on
Wednesday. I'm
Wednesday.
gonna be tomorrow. So
let's do Tuesday or Thursday.
Yes.
And let's really get into this, man. I appreciate you so much, man. I want you all to share this, and we're gonna show some clips of this, and we're gonna promote another conversation where we can have all of our members on, so we can really dialogue and talk about it, Doc. I'm praying for your safe travel home, and again, I wish you and your wife a happy 10th year anniversary.
Thank you
And
so
believing by
much.
faith that you headed to your 20 and 30 and
Yes.
40. And don't wait for me, just keep going. But know this, I am on my way. I love you, man.
Love you too.
All right, bye-bye.